Hello YouTube, this is part 2 of the detailed information for the land for sale strategy. I wanted to go over some numbers that I crunched as well as how you can go ahead and sell your land. Simply click buy land where you have your land and then click the parcel that you are trying to sell and then enter in the price. Now, as far as this goes, I have several fair market values as far as areas that are congested and areas that are unknown. Basically, the standard fair market value for pieces of land is $100. That's the fair market value as land is not saturated yet, and there is a lot of land available in the United States. Potentially, of course, you could get land in Mexico. I have not tried, or Canada. I have not tried yet either. Next time that I go and visit, I will see. Now, of course, any other country, of course, that would be the same thing. I'm not sure either. But like I said, we would see. So as far as land for sale goes, you can be a buyer of land or a seller of land. So the key thing to remember as far as being a seller of land is that there's a 20% commission that is taken right off the bat for whatever you priced. And there's a minimum sell price of 150 Atlas bucks. So the Atlas bucks for 150, it's been discussed on the Reddit forum, the official Atlas Earth Reddit forum, that you can have the reason why 150 was set up is so that way you can't transfer over Atlas bucks and land over to a main account and just keep on sponging off of fake accounts and stuff, which I think is a good way to handle this. However, unfortunately, it kind of breaks down the meta of the game for the fair market value that I'm about to adjust and give my personal thoughts on. So, without further ado, let's go over the expected value score that I've given based upon rarity and standard cost of commons, rares, epics, and legends. The common fair market value has an EV score of approximately 23.65. This is a pretty low score based upon the standard 100. However, we'll get into the fair market value price in a minute. The rare has an EV score of 57.34. The epic has a 157.70 score. The legendary has a 946.23 score. So these scores I derive from based on rarity, cost, and value multiplier, and based upon the income that they get. So let's go over the fair market value, which is basically a derivative of the cost and the rarity and the value multiplier, which the value multiplier is how much the base cost of a common is. So based upon the fair market value of that, we get a fair market value of 50 Atlas bucks for a common piece of land. This kind of seems a little bit unfair that there's a minimum value of $150 or Atlas bucks that you have to sell. But overall, as far as buying a common for $50 Atlas bucks, you could pretty much rest assured that this is a good value to be able to buy if you could buy. So when auctions come up, I expect the values of commons to go for about 50 bucks plus. Some may go as high as 80 or 90. Overall, $50 I think is fair market value. And this is not considering the saturation of the market as well, wherever your location is at as well. This is based upon the theory of infinite land, which there's not infinite land, but you know. Going on to the rare's fair market value is $102 basically. 101.8182 is what I calculated. The epic is 170 and the legendary is 380. So you probably heard before from some other YouTubers that about $400 for a legendary, $200 for epic, $150 for a rare, and $100 for common or whatever, or 75 or whatever. These are good numbers in general. So if you're buying in these types of numbers, if you could buy them, you know, basically when the lands for sale, I'd be nabbing them up left and right. So strategically in the first video, I gave you the theoretical that you can make up to $600 yearly if you owned 150 legendary parcels. Like I said, I don't know if we're there yet to be able to find enough epics or legendaries to strategically just get epics and legendaries in your portfolio. But I do think that being able to buy strategically, the legendaries and epics are very helpful. So I've heard that there was a posting for a legendary land on one of the other forums in California. I think it was Los Angeles for 99,000 or something Atlas bucks. This is completely overpriced. It's the maximum price you can set for a buy land. We can go ahead and see. 9999999 done. Confirm. Cancel. I'm not going to post up my thing for sale, but I think that's the maximum you can actually post up. So this is a little ridiculous. Of course, nobody will buy it. And if they did, then you would be rich. So, and you better start buying up a bunch of land when somebody donates you that amount of Atlas bucks. So, on to fair market value of, or adjusted fair market value, I would say, based upon rarity. The fair market value based upon rarity of a common, rare, epic, and legendary is roughly $2,000 for a legendary. I know this might seem a little bit extravagant, but based upon just rarity, you can see that the amount of money that it would generate would be roughly $100 in real money, because you would buy $2,400 worth of Atlas bucks for $100. So one legendary would just be totally start to eventually bankrupt you, unless you're just made of money and you're trying to collect legendaries. But the collectible value of a legendary is about $2,000 on the high end. Now, based upon the 20%, that would mean that it would sell for somewhere around $2,500 for the buyer end, or for the seller end, and for the buyer end, the buyer would get shafted, so to speak. So negotiable price would be somewhere between $1,800 to $2,200 maximum value for a legendary piece of property. For an epic piece of property, we're looking at $800 to $1,200 for an adjusted price, which I think, if I crunched the numbers correctly, was $1,250 or $1,000 adjusted fair market value. The rare was around 500. I think it was like 428 or something like that. And this is just based upon rarity value. So the common, of course, was $100 because that's as most as that it's ever just going to be. Common pieces of land are not really based upon the saturation of a market, not really worth much anyway. Even in a saturated piece of land, I think 150 probably is the most you should pay for a common piece of land. And it might go up to 200 in super saturated places like Disney World. Oh, I own a piece of Disney World, intrinsic value. But the same thing as far as Brave Stadium goes in Atlanta, as that grows, or the certain stadiums in certain areas, or the Atlanta Falcons, or Philadelphia Eagles. These stadiums, people might want to own pieces of those property, and a common piece of property could go up to $200. I could see, because they own it. I mean, hey, look, I own that, and I'll own it for the life of the game. So that's the adjusted fair market value that I see the most these prices can go for. And we need a bigger user base on the game before this really starts to happen. But I see in the next year here, a lot of it growing, the whole entire game growing, especially with advertisement and everything else. So that's just a rant as far as that goes. Now, on to what I feel is the strategic pricing that you could go for in selling your land. If you are trying to sell your land and you want to try to expand your territory, basically sell your epics and sell your legendaries, and gamble on buying more property through other places, because you're going to have rarities. You're still going to sell in your saturated areas, of course. You're still going to buy in your saturated areas, but you're going to sell your epics and sell your legendaries. Is your strategy to be able to expand and get more territory, and that's strategically until you have 150 land. And this is for basically free-to-play players, more than the whales and the pay-to-play players. You want to go ahead and sell your epics, sell your legendaries. Your rares you want to probably keep, and your commons you want to keep. You're just not going to get anything for them. If you want to post up your rares, you can post up your rares. I don't see why not as far as that goes. But game theory wise, free-to-play players probably should do that. If you're a pay-to-play player, you probably want to sell everything and keep, depending on your objective, am I going for collectability value of like, I want to own Disney World? Like, I think that's how Open Booster got started. You can see he's president of the United States. He should be Orlando, right? He's not. Oh, he's not. Yeah, he is. Oh, he is mayor of Orlando. So I think he owns a lot of property in the United States. Not in the United States, but in the United States, of course, but over in specifically Disney World, and I think Universal as well. I haven't actually been there to check it out, but that's his dominating strategy, and I think that that's what's working out for him right now. So on to what I think the fair price is to be able to buy a legendary. I personally would probably not spend more than $1,000 on a legendary as far as being a bargain buyer. Um, as far as being an ultra bargain buyer, the fair market value is 380. This 380 you should nab up every single time. Anything less than 380, your expected value with that 946 score, literally it says that you could sell the land for $946 and or buy the land for $946, and you're still going to get a high expected value out of that piece of land based upon my math. So the bargain buyers, nab up anything that's less than $400, no brainer. And if it's $500, hey, cool, buy it. If it's $800, $850 in a saturated market, that value of land potentially, of course, there could be landmarks. They could turn into landmarks. They could turn into other things that come into the future, or you can try to flip it for more later because people are going to be able to see it more when they're at those things, like I was specifically talking about stadiums and stuff like that, or Disney World and theme parks and stuff like that, that people will see and come in and want to buy. Oh, I want to buy a piece of land for that. So $850, $900, $1,000 in a saturated piece of market. A non-saturated piece of market, a legendary, should go for around 400, $500 would be fair for the buyer, so they could get that 400 and then buy their extra 4 pieces of land, and hopefully shoot to be able to shoot the dice, so to speak, to be able to open up more parcels of land. But I could discuss a lot more specifically, but this video is already getting pretty long. I just wanted to briefly, of course, as brief as I could, go over some strategies as far as buying and selling land. Go ahead and leave comments and your thoughts in the comments suggestion. Thanks so much for viewing. Go ahead and like and subscribe. And if I don't think we're there yet, but in the next year, this game is going to really take off as far as buying and selling goes. Thanks so much for viewing again.